All right, welcome back. This is the Massive Passive Income Show. I'm Jason.
I'm Colter.
And we are here to talk about expectations. So I read this book called The Expectation Effect, and I listened to it on the way to Chalice and back. Almost got the whole thing done. It's about 13 hours, but I was gone for a while. When I went to Chalice, I was an hour and a half past Chalice in the mountains. So anyways, what was interesting about this is I think it goes along with what we already know. I don't think I'm going to tell anybody something they don't already know. It's just proof positive, because in this book, he talks about all the case studies that they did about the power of suggestion, the power of the placebo effect on different things. And then he gave examples of during, I think it was the Civil War. I'm going to get murdered now from somebody that is a Civil War buff. But anyways, he talked about Thomas Jefferson and how they ran out of morphine. But people were still hurt and needed to have things amputated off, needed to be cut open in order to save these people's lives. So they told them they were getting morphine and they were able to operate just fine, especially on the people that have had morphine before. And it was interesting. He says that people that have had morphine before, they went through all the things they normally would have went through, and all they had was some kind of saline or something that they stuck in them. They thought they were getting morphine. And then he has all sorts of other double placebo blind effects, different studies and all sorts of things that he talks about of different ways on the power of suggestion or somebody's expectation when it's set up there. This is my expectation that this is going to happen. Nine times out of 10, that's exactly what's going to happen. And it could be a bad expectation or it could be a good expectation. Either way, your expectations can kind of forego or foresee how you're going to end up. Now, what he did say is you can't manipulate that. Like you can't pretend like you have an expectation to have something. It's got to be something that you can work towards, something you can set your expectations out there, and you could even achieve more. But it was amazing the different case studies that they had.
Well, that's fascinating, because I think even just in a personal sense of I can't fake a medication that I take on a daily basis and say, hey, you know what, mind,
That's what he's saying. Yep.
This is me convincing myself to expect that I don't have to take this.
Yep.
But if I'm expecting that that's going to happen, right, I'm not trying to fool myself. I'm trying to say, is this really what I expect to happen, right? Is my brain so convinced that this is exactly what will happen? So I think about if I set out my gym clothes the night before, knowing that I want to get up at 5:15 a.m. to hit the gym by 5:30, I have set that expectation, and I wake up, regardless of whether your alarm clock goes off, at between 5:12 and 5:15.
And if you don't make it, you're disappointed. Where normally if you would have set that expectation, you would have missed it, probably no big deal.
For sure.
Yeah. It's funny, just talking about this. Something happened my senior year of high school. Not that I want to go back to high school, but I was big into weightlifting. My cousin and myself and other people, we weightlifted all the time, as much as we could. Anyways, I wanted to do a new personal best. It was like 2 weeks before graduation, maybe 3 weeks before graduation, and I wanted to bench 315. And I hadn't been able to do it, but I could do 305. And I've done 305 multiple times. So my coach was there, and he's like, I'm going to do it this time. I'm going to do it. Well, I didn't realize it. I did 305, and then I got up, and they were going to put the extra weight. How'd they do it? They told me I was doing 305, but I had 315 on there, and I pushed it up, and I jumped up, and I'm like, man, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that 315. I said, that really felt heavy. And my coach was like, you did 315. I'm like, no, I didn't. I saw it, and they had stuck that on there, and I was thinking I was going to do 305.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so my expectation was there. I knew I was going to be able to do 305. I knew that. So I went down, hit it, even though it did feel heavy. In fact, in my head, I'm like, why does that feel so heavy? But I knew I could do it, and I was able to push it up and got my new personal best.
So there you go. The expectation effect is basically we know or we expect, and we have it outlined in our mind, this is going to happen.
Yeah, and I think we can manipulate that a little bit, and I think we can. But like you said, I can't take a pill thinking it's not Tylenol and it's going to get rid of my headache. You can't do that, but you can set your expectations out there to achieve more and do more. And some of the case studies was these guys over here were a blind placebo and they knew they were getting a placebo, and these people were getting the actual drug, and they did something with these people that they didn't have the placebo, and they actually achieved more even though they knew they had the placebo. Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy.
Now, they didn't achieve like the people thought they actually got whatever the drug was or whatever else that they got, but still they achieved more. And man, it just your mind is so powerful. And if we could tap into anything of our mind on what we're not utilizing, man, I think the limits are just endless. I really do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The world is our oyster, right?
Yeah.
There's so much power in the art of thought.
Yeah.
And the power of thinking and being and expectations and visualizing what it is that we're going to do. So, yeah, great
episode.
topic.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jason.
Thank you.